Hey guys, Rorius here. Welcome to Fragments of Him. This is the second episode of the new and improved week. This is the second new game. Disclaimer, I believe this game is pretty sad. It's got very serious topics, if I'm not mistaken. And it's gonna be kind of an emotional ride, I think. What I know of this game is that it involves lovers. Hint, you can pause the game by pressing escape. Thank you. It involves, like, lovers and dealing with loss. If these kinds of sensitive topics trigger you or whatever, I'd recommend you not watch this video. That, or, you know, join me in just absorbing it and not letting it get to you, sort of thing. I know I'm probably going to be crying before the end of this. I can just feel it. So, without further ado, let's begin. Oh, I didn't actually know it was going to be first person. I can interact with left click, apparently. Or no, I can walk forward with left click. Oh. Grabbing keys. Yeah, I can either move around with WASD, or I can move forward with left click. Also interact with things with left click. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know fully what to expect from this. Oh. I love you, have a good day.
I love you. Have a good day.
Okay, I put the voice volume up. I think that was too loud.
It's easy to forget to appreciate the small things.
Okay. No, not main menu. Continue. Okay.
It's easy to forget to appreciate the small things. I think I've done that too much.
Even putting the voice volume down, it's still really fucking loud. Oh well, whatever. I just put the voice volume up compared to other things because,
I should have looked at this view more. I'll do that from now on.
Often voices are too quiet compared to, like, music and stuff like that, but... So are these, like, all memories of our boyfriend? Oh yeah, I didn't mention it at the start. I said lovers. It's specifically to male lovers.
Take this elevator. So much work went into this, and I never even thought about it before now.
From what I could tell from the visuals,
Thousands of hours of people's lives were dedicated to making this box on wire. I just assume it will always work. Only pay attention when something goes wrong.
True.
Assumptions, patterns. I've got to pay more attention.
Okay, I'm moving again. From what I could tell from visuals and from people talking about this, is that it's a bit similar. It's got similarities to that Dragon Cancer.
I'm going to take control.
Like, similar style game. Where you're really going through the life of someone. And in the case of, like, that Dragon Cancer, I haven't played that, by the way. If you want me to play that, let me know. It's like, you're essentially going through the trauma of that person. And in this case, I believe it's the loss of a loved one.
I don't want to lose what we've got to by not paying attention to it.
Radio. Sure hope there's no copyrighted music. The last super sad game I played
Some routine is good.
had copyrighted music in it.
Other patterns, they're just habits with no meaning.
Oh, handbrake. Oh, I'm not actually... I don't drive a manual. I drive an automatic. Actually, the way he's driving it looks automatic. Is that just the... It looks like a manual clutch. Sorry, not clutch. Gear stick. It looks like a manual gear stick, but maybe it's an automatic gear stick. Yeah, I wonder where we are. What country are we in? Narrow streets. Looks like Europe.
It was easy to get lazy, to let things fall slowly into a dull routine.
Or England. But I think we're driving on the right, aren't we? No, left. No, okay, we're driving on the left, so it's either Australia, New Zealand, England, or
but
Japan.
They're not going anywhere.
Or Hong Kong. The guy's voice is British. I should assume he's British. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
It's time to take control.
Oh. Is that me? Do I take control?
I can't think how often we chatted there, talking late into the night.
Hmm. Yeah, in the UK, most people drive manuals. Like, manual gear sticks. Stick shift. Is that what it's called? No, stick shift is something else. I don't know, terminology of vehicles. They drive manuals.
The park is beautiful.
Yeah, in New Zealand, it's hard to get a manual now. You have to. Most cars are just automatic. Are automatically automatic. In the UK, apparently, most people still love to have manual.
He's got
vehicle.
to know how I feel about him. I love him so much.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. That wouldn't kill you. Just being driven into the back like that. But that's a fear of my mum's now, because we actually, not too long ago, like a year ago? Or maybe 2 years ago now? We got rear-ended while pulling into our street.
Every day that alarm goes off. I should change the tone on it. Though, Harry always sleeps through it, so that's something.
Oh, so wait, this is us. This is me in this context. This is the narrator. So the other guy is Harry.
A routine is good, to a point. I used to love this efficiency, but I feel trapped by it now.
I can imagine this being in VR. that visual effect. I've seen a tutorial on how you can do that easy. It's a real nice, easy
I love this painting.
shader effect.
And I can't remember the last time I really looked at it.
Dissolving in and out. Okay, well, let's do this.
This t-shirt is Harry's favorite on me.
Nothing to say about the pants drawer or whatever drawer that is.
The same stories I've carried with me for years between houses.
Yeah, as I said before, if you want me to play that Dragon Cancer, I've heard it is a brutally emotional story, and I just know, just from what I know of it, I'm like, that game would
These
kill me.
daily things, they're good, but weigh us down too. I've got to a good place in life, but I feel like I'm not taking it further.
Stagnating.
I feel like I should try to break patterns. I usually use the bathroom first.
But maybe I should do something else instead? What else could we interact with? I think,
Every change helps. Tea.
let's break habits. You normally do bathroom first, do tea first instead.
A man takes the lead, Grandma would tell me. I guess I need to step up to the line. I've got a great thing here.
Is there multiple endings to this, I wonder? Like if you just do the same routine again? Whether that'll lead to
I don't think she
a
meant
different
this,
outcome?
but she's right. I should take the lead. I should ask Harry to marry me. I want to be his husband.
Aww.
Will Grandma come to the wedding? I think she will. Maybe.
I don't have grandparents to worry about that with. All my grandparents are dead.
Naturally, as Will's grandmother, I visited Will in hospital on the first day that he was born. James, Will's father, handed him to me, wrapped in a little blue blanket. I'll never forget that moment. He was such a handsome baby. James ran 3 London pubs in the 1980s, of that punk sort. He looked awful with that leather jacket and those sort of things. That's not the sort of thing for children. So I would babysit as often as possible to make sure he had someone normal in his life.
Right, so Will's father was like a punk
It's good
rocker.
for a young boy to be outdoors. But Will never really liked that when he was young.
I was always outdoors when I was
Will's
young.
mother is an American, Sharon. They met through James's pubs. She took Will away to America for 3 years when she and James split up. They got back together again, though.
Ah, yeah.
James and Sharon would always be putting on some awful music, if you could call it that. Not my cup of tea at all. I turned it off first thing whenever I was babysitting. Will's birth wasn't very easy, but he got here. He was never going to have brothers or sisters after, though.
Oh dear. That's always hard when... I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that my brother, you know, he's borderline got a wife. He's got a girlfriend, doesn't have a wife. They've had their first son now, so my parents have grandchildren. Because I was not going to be providing any.
Sharon was an art teacher. She always had her nose in a magazine full of pictures. It's not the way to inspire a young man to a career, if you ask me. James liked such strange books, full of horrible things. I remember him telling me about one with rats everywhere. I really don't see the appeal. I suppose I sound old-fashioned, but there are appropriate ways to raise a child. I only wanted Will to grow up happy and normal.
It's not how... You don't have control over that, Grandma.
I remember that night because Will had been unusually quiet all evening.
Oh.
He had been in a fight at school.
Oh?
Another boy had been calling a girl names because she had dark skin.
Oh.
Will told the
Yeah,
boy
this
to
is-
stop,
This is older.
and he was punched in the stomach. I asked him if he had cried, and he said yes.
Of course.
I told him that big boys don't cry. I remember him asking me then, what do big boys do when they're sad?
Yeah.
When he was grown up, I told him he would be a good man. He would be able to stand up to others. He had done the right thing, I told him, even though it hurt him that time.
It's the thing. It's like people from a previous generation, they don't realize.
Looking back, I don't think he seemed very comforted.
No. That idea. That's an example of a perpetuation of toxic masculinity, as they say.
Will tripped over his toy
That is
van
perpetuated by
when he was going to bed.
by people who are just well-meaning, you know. Oh.
I remember carrying him. He was trying so hard not to cry.
Aw.
He was so small in my arms. I've never forgotten that feeling.
It's interesting, because, like, I think, the implication is that the character I'm playing as, and my partner were both born in the 80s, by the sound of it. Or at least I was. My character was.
It's most odd what sticks with you. A whole patchwork of memories making up our lives.
Oh, by the way, I meant to mention at the start as well, I'm going to just record the whole game right through, but it's probably going to be a bit too long for one episode, so I'll probably split it in two. So there might be an abrupt cut in the middle, where I'll say, like, to be continued sort of thing. I hope you don't mind. Yeah, so, like, his grandmother is probably either born in the 50s or the 40s. It could be earlier, but that's like the typical range.
I took him to bed to read him a story.
Which is actually not that much older than my parents are. My parents were born in the 50s. And so they have kind of similar ideals to this grandmother.
Sharon kept on buying him books of ghost stories. He always wanted me to read him those. But he never slept properly after, I think.
I understand that. I get that. Oh.
I always look carefully to reassure him.
Oh. Just tell him, like, no ghosts here. Anywhere else? Nope. Here?
I had to check the room for ghosts before he would sleep.
Yeah. But look, young boys like that, and men, even, we love our spooky stuff. Not everyone. I shouldn't make a statement like that. Most boys like a good spooky story.
I remember promising him, while I looked, that I would always protect him. I would always be there for him. I'm sure he thought I just meant about ghosts, but I meant it for everything. I always remember that feeling. I wonder if I knew his life wouldn't be easy.
Ah. It's like subconsciously she knew.
I wasn't reading a new ghost book. I was reading him Grimm's fairy tales.
Right.
The old
those are good.
stories are much better than these new ones.
But Grimm's fairy tales are fucking disturbing.
It was a strange story that night, called The Ungrateful Son. It went something like this.
Oh, I wonder if we're going to be in the story.
Once upon a time, a man and his wife were eating a roast chicken for dinner.
Sort of.
When the man
That's
saw
2D.
his father, a very old man, walking along the road towards them, the man didn't want to share his chicken, so he hid it out of sight. The man's father arrived, bid them good day, and continued on his way.
Oh.
The man was very happy and so told his wife to put the chicken on the table again. But the chicken had transformed into a giant toad, which leapt onto the face of the man. The toad wouldn't leave his face and hissed at the wife when she came near, so she didn't dare approach to help. The man had to feed the toad every day from then on, or it would bite his face. And he never rested for the remainder of his life.
Jesus. See,
That
grim
was a
fairy
very
tales.
strange story.
Grim fairy tales are fucking disturbing. That's the thing, like, all the stories are super, grim, as the name would suggest. Grimm's fairy tales
Will
are...
was asleep before I finished it, which was probably a good thing.
Yeah, like, that's supposed to tell you a moral, you know? A lot of those old stories are like that. They're supposed to tell you, like, don't be greedy, don't disrespect your parents, or else you'll have a frog on your face.
It left me in an odd mood. I wondered how long I would be able to keep him safe. I knew I would do my best to help him find his place in the world. Any other grandmother would try to do the same.
Oh. Yeah. So, is she going to be accepting?
I can still see him sleeping there now, like it was only yesterday.
Aww. I'm gonna fucking cry already. I can see where it's going, but I'm curious which direction. There's like a crossroads in the story I can foresee, and I'm wondering which direction it's gonna go.
I'd raised James, so I thought I would be ready for anything from my grandson Will. But I wasn't daft enough to think that it would be easy. The world changes so fast.
Well, yeah, this generation, like the previous generation and my generation, like Gen X, Gen Y, or Millennials, and Gen Z generations, things have changed so drastically. What do we got here? Oh, father. Probably Will's father. This is Harry. Will's mother, Sharon.
I remember the family visiting me when
Grandma.
Will was a
I
teenager.
think it's James. Oh, no, well, this isn't Harry, this is Will. My bad. This is James, Will, and Sharon. I forget that I don't play as me. It's always like I'm like a ghost hovering around. Maybe that's just it. Maybe I play as Harry and I'm hovering around Will and his family because, yeah, I've died.
My husband Robert died when Will was young. He was a good writer, but I do wish he had tried a bit harder. Still, I loved him.
Tried a bit harder, as in to make money and stuff.
I started a small collection of glass animals many years ago.
I have a collection of glass animals.
I would buy a new one whenever I went to Brighton.
We didn't quite make it to
It's good
Brighton.
to get out of the house,
when we're in
enjoy
the
the
UK.
fresh sea air.
What's this?
After James had grown up, I went to New Zealand to visit distant family over there.
It's supposed to be
It was a very long trip in those days, but it's important to keep in touch.
I mean, it still is a
We're
very
all
long
so
trip.
spread apart in our lives now, don't you think?
Is this supposed to be like a Maori-style mask? I know what they're going for, but it looks a little off. It looks more like Pacific Island / South American. But it's cool. That's cool. I appreciate the reference. I keep reading all the book names, but none of them really stand out to me. Yeah, I think it's just the music.
Do you know Al Martino's Here in My Heart? He had such a lovely voice.
I don't.
It was playing
I might
when
know
Robert first kissed me.
But I don't know it by name.
Robert would hum it to me sometimes.
Right. Oh, newspaper.
We were all waiting back then for Diana to divorce
Ah,
Charles.
Yeah.
It had been such a scandal
This is the
after
90s.
that television interview that she did.
If Diana's still alive, then... Yeah.
Sometimes people treat us old people like we have nothing to say, so I started the conversation. I see that Diana is in the news again. It seems like she's never out of it these days. It's about time she stopped keeping everyone waiting.
Oh.
I think it's sad. She was bullied into all of this from the beginning.
The rest of the conversation didn't go well. Will frustrated me so much.
Oh.
I told you before that Sharon is American. She didn't say anything, which was probably a blessing, really. James wasn't much help. He's always held liberal views on things.
This is why I was like, I wonder which way this is gonna go.
I wish I hadn't even tried. They didn't want to hear my views. I said that I was going to make some tea. No one offered to help.
Yikes. Not even your children? As in Will's parents? That's pretty sad. I know whenever we have guests over and that kind of thing, I always offer, I mean, I guess it's not really guests, but it is sort of guests because they don't live here anymore. Or they don't live here, full stop. I would always offer to make the tea, or help make tea, or coffee in my case. Make a drink. Oh. This street looks weird. Doesn't look like an actual British street.
Was it childish? I don't think any of us wanted tea, but I didn't want to talk to them anymore. It seems like a strange thing to remember, but some things stick with you. I was worried about him, getting all these views. It could get him into trouble.
Not.
James and Sharon were
Not how
both
it
adults, but Will...
I have a feeling it's not going to be in it. It's not.
I
The
didn't
story
have
isn't
any
going to go the
choice in my
positive
time.
way.
But I had a quiet life. It was good enough. It's easier to be different now, but all he could see was the need of one person, at the risk to everything else. I wish Will understood that you've got to fit in to get along in life.
See, it's such old
Will was only at
views.
the start of his life, but those years are so important. I wanted him to keep his head down, not start arguments.
That's not what.
I let the tea brew.
It's not what modern
And I
generations do.
cried. He was so headstrong, and he was going to make mistakes. I knew it. I couldn't change his mind.
But that's what you have to let kids make mistakes. That's what life is.
I knew something
You learn
had
from
been
mistakes.
broken that day between Will and I.
Well, it's just one argument. It's like I've become all like
I
hostile
took a
and
deep
defensive.
breath and pulled myself together. It simply doesn't do to let others see you get upset.
I mean, to some degree, yeah, I have that view of like, I have a mixture of old and new views, I think, and one of those things is that yeah, I prefer mostly keeping like the stronger emotions to myself, but like when it comes to family, man, you can't let arguments get in the
Robert
way.
passed
You know?
away soon after Will was born. I've lived alone since then. It felt tolerable being by myself until that new distance. It's a terrible thing to feel detached from your own family. I know I'm from a different generation with different values, but I don't think they're all wrong.
No, and that's why I agree. They're not all wrong, but also
I wasn't
the new
prepared
views
to
aren't all
accept
wrong either.
that Will wasn't going to talk to me anymore. His views, I felt he was putting his future at risk.
But see, that's therein lies the issue, is that like she wants to not have this rift between them, but then she's not willing to compromise on
Those views, liberalism and such like, I knew he would change his mind as he got older. But before he changed, what damage would he do to his options?
Yeah, that kind of thought processes. Those kinds of thought processes are old world views. Things change fast now. Things never last that long. Like, yeah, things are not built to last anymore, so you're constant.
I didn't know what to expect.
Everything's
at
constantly in
Christmas.
flux.
I just wanted us to all be close again. But I was nervous.
I mean, yeah, maintain traditions if you can,
I
but
kept in touch with a lot of friends.
can't let that
We
divide
didn't
your
have
family.
email, of course, but even now they just aren't as good as a real letter.
Yeah.
I remember a Christmas after Will had gone to university, but we were all coming back together for the holiday.
Hmm. Yeah. Christmas is one of those things that it's just a nice tradition to keep up. Yeah, isn't that nice? What am I missing? Is there something through here? Oh, over here. Why can't I look? What the hell? Something's happened to my view and I can't look down anymore. Oh dear. Can I get it from like over here? Nope. Well, I can look further than vertically up. Can I start from here? I just realized that when I went to make the tea earlier when I was playing as Will, I didn't go to the bathroom first like it said, but then I never went to the bathroom after that.
I live by myself. I always have done since Robert went. I had felt this was acceptable until then. Feeling distant from your family is the most awful thing. It's the strangest feeling of mourning.
Oh, it's that one. That particular one I just did there, it broke it in reverse now. I can look further than down. Okay, I think it's been fixed. Thank God for that.
I was down in the dumps, to be honest. It was good to keep busy making the place look nice.
Back to the tree.
I'd been told that Will was going to bring a girlfriend, Sarah. It was important to make a good impression.
Sarah, eh? Well. Probably just a friend, Sarah. Not a girlfriend. There's Will's parents, and this is Sarah.
My family arrived just as the Christmas lunch was ready. It was perfect timing. Will and I hadn't spoken for months. I didn't know if he understood that when we disagreed, it was only because I cared so much about him. Sarah was lovely, of course. She was a bit shy back then, I think. We talked about her university courses. She really had no reason to be nervous. I mentioned that Sharon took Will away for 3 years to America once, didn't I? Yes, I think I did. He was only 10. I missed so many important years. James is like his father, really. A wonderful boy.
Oh,
But I
stepfather.
do wish he would apply himself more. Will was growing up to be such a fine man.
Is that the implication? I don't know. I'm confused now. Why did she say that James is like his father? When I thought James was his father. I'm confused.
He doted on Sarah.
Okay. Oh, am I like serving everyone, am I? Click on all the things and they'll go to people's plates. This makes me want to have Christmas dinner again. I like Christmas dinner, not just for the food, but for the whole like pageantry of it, I guess.
It filled me with pride and hope to see him that day. He was becoming the man I had hoped he would be.
Right.
With Sarah, I hoped he would be on track to a normal life.
This idea of normal life versus, like, ruining that normal life.
But that was the last time I saw her.
No, I could always... When I heard that for the first time, I could feel... I can feel the judgment. already.
The next summer, I went to visit Will at university.
Ooh. My grandparent, I think by the time I was at university, were my... No, I think my grandma was still, well, my Oma was still alive. But she was way too sick.
I always like to arrive on time.
To ever
it's just polite. So I had left plenty of time for the drive down to see him.
But then again, I went to a university. My university was close enough that I didn't have to stay at the university.
I ended up being rather early. And it was my first visit to the campus, so I went for a walk. The old buildings there are lovely.
Yeah, the British universities are quite amazing.
Many young
American ones too, I think.
All full of life and excited about the future. Lots of beautiful girls around, and I was hoping I might spot Sarah. I never went to university. It wasn't like it is now, where it seems normal to go. It was nice to see so many people improving their lives. I noticed Will from a distance. I've always thought he stood out in a crowd. At first, I couldn't see what he was doing.
Will and Harry. This is the other guy that we couldn't really see very closely.
Then I saw that he was holding hands with a man.
Yes.
And then they kissed right there, out in the open. After everything I had tried to teach him, he went and did that. I couldn't believe it. I knew those views of his would get him in trouble.
Fuck you, Grandma. Oh, what the?
I left right away.
See, I was like...
What was I supposed to say to him then?
She was talking about how she was always going to protect him, and she's always...
Will hadn't
this,
seen
that, and the next thing.
I simply had no idea how I could be expected to act like everything would be okay for him. He was still so young.
And she lied.
There are people out there who won't accept that sort of thing. Suddenly, the university seemed ugly, obscene. All that sense of entitlement, but no appreciation.
The funny thing is that the university that she was talking about...
worked so hard trying to raise up our country, and this was what happened to the grandchildren. It was all a waste.
What's funny is that she's talking about how, like, there are people out there that, like, they won't accept him. But the simple fact that he's kissing his boyfriend in public amongst all his peers shows that those concerns are not grounded anymore.
I wanted to be civil, but I was so angry with him, with them all. He was putting himself in danger.
But, like, yeah, maybe when you were young, sure.
That sort of thing. It
but
all just feels
the world
wrong
changes
to me.
so
Sorry,
fast.
That's just the way I feel about this. I barely saw Will for the next few years. I couldn't bring myself to talk to him.
See, once again, a slight difference in opinion, a difference in decisions to do with life, and you let your family drift apart.
I
That
suppose
sucks.
it was silly of me.
Yes, it was. What I find really fascinating is that I feel like old world views, older folks have more of an attachment or a like need for close familial connections, but they're also the first to push away family who are different. It's such a weird juxtaposition. Modern people have less concern about the family connection, are more concerned about, you know, societal health than close familial health. But they're also the ones who are the most accepting of differences in people.
After university, he went travelling, seeing the world. I stayed at my house.
Yeah.
Being alone in a house by yourself. I said my husband Robert died when Will was young, didn't I? Being alone can make you live in the past. You watch the world change without you.
Yes. Oh.
I don't know if he knew how much I loved him when he was growing up.
That qualifier at the end of your sentence right there is the problem. How much I loved him when he was growing up. How much you love him. That's this. It should end at that part of the sentence. Didn't know how much I loved him. Or how much I love him,
I remember so clearly before he changed. When he was just a happy little boy.
Before he changed? He didn't change. He grew.
I had all these hopes for who Will would be when he was a grown man.
So much of this, I'm just like, oh my god, I can't handle this. People are people. You don't get to say what other people do with their lives. Like, yeah, you might want something for a particular person, but if they don't want that thing, you can't push that thing on them. You want them to be a doctor, but they don't want to be a doctor. You can't make them be a doctor. If you want them to have a wife and children, but they're gay, you can't make them have a wife and children.
But life goes on.
Yes.
I was working in the garden. Things go wild if you leave them too long.
Oh, lots of spots. I like how it keeps changing my height.
Will would occasionally send me a postcard from somewhere foreign on his travels.
The way she says the word foreign. It sounds so like foreign. Somewhere exotic. Somewhere foreign. Okay. HDR lighting. Let me see what she's doing.
He wasn't in travel journalism back then. Even though I was angry, I still worried about him.
Yeah, I mean that's just being a mother or father, being a grandparents. You always worry. Oh, right. I stood there like blank for a second there. The stuff I was saying about like whether you can make someone do something, what I guess I really meant is that it's not for you to, it's not for someone to say whether someone should do something or should not do something. It's up for that person to want to do that thing, you know? Sure, you can like suggest things, but just because they don't get those suggestions don't get accepted,
damn things, I
you can't be upset with
twisted my
them.
ankle when I was going to answer it.
Oh god.
I lay there feeling like a complete idiot.
Is it gonna go off again, or is it?
I couldn't do a thing. The doorbell went again, but it hurt too much to move. I called out for help. I heard footsteps around the side of the house.
Oh.
It was Will, coming to visit me. He'd come back from travelling. I had been so cold to him, never reaching out, but that didn't matter to him.
It's okay.
He looked after me anyway.
Yeah. Because your grandmother and grandson were
I
family.
saw, inside
you know?
the man he was, the same kind boy that I knew.
Exactly.
I don't claim that I'll understand some of his choices.
He hasn't changed, he's just grown.
Let's get you inside.
It's the same
But
boy you
inside,
loved it when he was young.
He really always had been the man that I wanted him to be.
Exactly.
Kind and strong. I'd missed that. Blinded by only one part of him.
Yeah, exactly.
He was still everything I could have hoped for.
Well, I'm glad that
He was
this
even
game is
kind
pointing
to
that
a
out.
fool like me.
Yes.
I'll never forget that.
Good. That's the thing, that's one of the reasons, honestly, why I run the channel the way I do. Is that there's a part of me that's like, you know, maybe I would have more success with this channel if I was the gay YouTuber. But that's not what that's one tiny facet of who I am. There's so much more to me than just that. Some YouTubers utilize one aspect of their personality and that's their entire channel, you know? It's just focused around, like hyper-focused around one aspect of their personality. That's not what I want. If that's what I have to do, then I will do something else, you know? If that's the only option, then I guess it's not for me. I am a multifaceted person with lots of different aspects to my personality.